are like threefold. You have the physical eyes, the one you call eyes. You have the intellectual or mental eyes. Then you have the eyes of your spirit, which is called the eyes of faith. It's called faith eyes, with which we see visions. Amen. So sometimes your eyes are closed, but with the eyes of faith, you can connect to the invisible realm. Okay? And then, apart from that there are eyes of men, all men are not the same. I said all men are not what? Now, we don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are. In other words, we see things from ourselves. So if you have, let's say, 5 categories of people walk into this room. One is a banker. The other is a lawyer. The third is a medical doctor. The fourth is a pastor. And the fifth, most likely, a surgeon. Okay? All of them are not going to see the same way. They may not likely see the same thing, even though what is here has not changed. Okay? But each of them, when they step into this place, they will see things from themselves, from their platforms, from their perspectives. Again, from where we stand determines what we have the privilege of seeing. Platforms are not the same. Very important. So vision has covenant with a lot of values and virtues. That is important for you to note. Now, number 2, we don't also see what is available to be seen. We only see what we have capacity to see. You hear what I said? And we don't have the same volume of capacity, meaning all of us are not the same. Some years ago, when this church started, a young son in the Lord of mine called me and said, "Daddy, I want you to come to visit a church. The man is not anointed like you, but he's more successful than you. There are things he knows that I think you need to know." So I obliged him, and then we went for that meeting. On getting there, I was impressed at their service. The services they were using a rented apartment place. I think they were paying about 2 million, whether per usage as at that time, for a hall. They were paying for so many things, and I saw the kind of services they were delivering. Even if you are the one, you will want to attend such church. Not because the pastor is spiritual, not because he knows how to preach, not because he's anointed. In fact, a member of this church went to worship in that church and came back and told me that she was missing church because when the service started, she felt the place is bankrupt of divine presence. But crowd go there. You know why? Because the man he understands how to relate with people, to deal with people. And I'm learning that. Now, when I was going there, I took with me some people in the choir. I took some instrumentalists. I took 1 or 2 other persons to go with me. The reason why I did that was because I said, I want them to look at what we're doing vis-a-vis what we're going to see, and let's see what we can learn. Because by the time we came back, I began asking them, what did you learn? You, what did you learn? You in charge of the ushers, what did you learn? You in charge of music, what did you learn? You in charge of the choir, what did you learn? You that is playing keyboard, what did you learn? And then there were things that I saw that they couldn't see, because I was seeing from my vantage point and from my level, from who I am, from my office as a pastor. Having said that, it is important I tell you that God's eyes are different from our human eyes. Amen. I said God's eyes are what? They are different, because God's eyes are the eyes of his omniscience. God's eyes are what? They are the eyes of his Yes, when I mean the eyes of his omniscience, God knows all things. So with me, God knows all things. Therefore, his kind of eyes is the eyes that is connected to that level of knowledge. So when God is looking at you, he is looking at you from the platform of his omniscience. Because he knows all things. When he looks at you, his eyes doesn't see just head. He doesn't see just anything. He sees everything he knows about you. So in other words, every eye has covenant with capacity. Write it down, it will help you. The eyes of men have covenant with what? Has covenant with their capacity. So it is capacity that determines eye. Number two, purpose and assignment determines eye. Sometimes people only see what they are wired to see. God gives men eyes based on what he has wired them to do. Now, because I'm talking about praying to see with the eyes of God, I need to let you know that man doesn't see things because it is available to be seen. He sees what he has the capacity to see. He sees what God permits him to see. Therefore, if he is ever going to see what he doesn't have the capacity to see, and what he is not permitted to see, he must be helped to see. He must be enabled to see. If he is not enabled to see those things, he can't see them. Does that make sense? Amen. So I could stand here and look into Brother David's office and knew that there has been some tussles and some conflicts going on in his office, some power tussles, people fighting for some placement, fighting for some positions, okay? And then there's this envy and jealousy going on, and there is a place he has been desiring, but people who are in certain positions have been lobbying to make sure that they occupy those positions, and then he's finding it difficult to edge his way through because he doesn't know how to bribe people. All those who know how to bribe people are given placements. Are you following what I'm saying, sir? So now, these things I'm saying now, probably 60 to 70% of what I just said now is correct about his office. Are you saying it's not in his head now? How am I able to know that? There is no way I would have been able to know that on my own, but by the Spirit of God. I called the bishop. He may be probably watching me now. And I said, I'm calling you because I had a vision about you. And I began listing the things I saw. As I began talking, more visions